Hey there, everybody. You're very welcome back to the channel. All right, so let's have a look at the standings following the Australian Grand Prix, which of course was won by none other than Charles Leclerc, as you can see on the screen here as well. Very early start this morning for some of us. We didn't do a watch along for this one, which I'm a little bit sorry about. I tried to preempt the race and I thought it was going to be incredibly boring with very limited overtaking. It actually turned out that that wasn't the case, which is fantastic for everybody that loves a good race. But unfortunately, I didn't get to live the experience with all of the online comments. But we go again, and I'll be back hopefully for the next round of the Formula One, which is in 2 weeks' time. Looking forward to that very, very much. So as I said, let's have a look then at the standings in the championship. So you can see actually in 20th we have Latifi, and a lot of these guys now don't have any points, so I don't even know why we're going through them. So Latifi, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Schumacher, all the way through from 20th to 17th. You can see they have 0 points. Then with 1 point we have Alexander Albon. Fantastic job from Alex Albon to get a point. We have Guan Yu Zhu in 15th. Fernando Alonso is in 14th, Yuki Tsunoda is in 13th, Gasly is 12th, Ricardo is in 11th, then we have Bottas in 10th. As you can see, we have Magnussen then in 9th place. Lando Norris is in 8th, Esteban Ocon 7th, getting ahead of myself there. Max Verstappen, of course, is in 6th. Can you believe it? The world champion only in 6th. We have Lewis Hamilton in 5th place, Sergio Perez is in 4th. Carlos Sainz is in 3rd, George Russell in 2nd, and way out in the lead we have Leclerc. Leclerc now has a lead of, let me do my maths here very, very quickly, about 34 points. So that's a fantastic lead that he has. Now, let's have a look a little bit more at the details here of this drivers' championship. So if we come all the way down in the points positions, of course, we have Alex Albon, and it was at the Australian Grand Prix that Alex Albon picked up his 1 point. Brilliant race from him. He stayed on the hard tires for the majority of the race and then switched, I think it was to the soft tires, softs or the mediums, I can't remember, towards the end of the race, and it worked out very, very well for him. I think Williams were actually banking on maybe one additional safety car period. That didn't happen, but either way, they still got a point, so a really, really good result for them. Very difficult car to score points in as well, so that's a great achievement from Alex Albon, and I'm happy to see him do that. Joe, of course, has one. Let me see. Yes, Joe has 1 point, and he scored that in the first race of the season. So his debut race, good going for him in his first start, but he hasn't scored since then, unfortunately. And unbelievably, Alonso has only scored in the first race of the season as well. So he's currently on 2 points. Can you believe it? 2 points. He finished in 9th place in the first race of the season, which of course was the Bahrain Grand Prix, as you can see here on the screen. Sorry, so getting off topic ever so slightly. Yuki Tsunoda then is in 13th. Once again, a single points finish for him in the first race of the season. Then it gets a little bit more interesting. We have Pierre Gasly in 12th. He scored points in both the last 2 races, so the Australian Grand Prix and also the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo gets his first points at home in Australia. And this was a good return to form from the McLaren team, and I didn't see it coming, I have to say. It looked like they were in dire straits after the first 2 rounds of the championship, so they came back. They actually believed that they might be the 3rd best, but when they went head-to-head with Mercedes today, they clearly were not 3rd best. Mercedes also much improved, I will comment. Valtteri Bottas is doing very well. Look at this. He had a points finish in the first race of the season, and then he had a points finish again today, coming in 8th place today and picking up a grand total of 4 points. Kevin Magnussen, no points today. That makes me a little bit sad, but he had a great haul of points, 5th in the first race and 9th in the second race, to put him on 12 points in total. Lando Norris. Lando has started to pick up a few points. Unbelievably, in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, he did score points. He managed to come in 7th place. Nearly forgot about that completely, so 6 points for that. And a further 10 points to supplement that score today by finishing in 5th, which was very well deserved for the McLaren team. Then Ocon is the most consistent we've seen on the list so far, because he's the only guy that we've seen right here that has scored points consistently through the first 3 races. So 7th place, 6th place, 7th place, pretty consistent running as well there from Ocon. Gives him a grand total of 20 points. By the way, when we go higher, there will be other drivers that have finished in the points in all 3 races. Max Verstappen. Now this is unbelievable a little bit. You can see Max Verstappen. He is in 6th place in the championship. He has 1 race win and he has 2 DNFs. Crazy going here. Crazy going. So that reliability for Red Bull is really hurting Max Verstappen's title run. And the cynic in me, I feel like Mercedes might just get their act together before Max Verstappen is able to get his act together. And actually, we could have a very tight battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton or George Russell, either or. But unfortunately, it does look like that the Ferrari is taking off way out in front of the championship. Who can win the championship? Well, I'll come to that point when we come to Charles Leclerc. Of course, he's leading the championship at the moment. So not getting ahead of myself, Lewis Hamilton then is in 5th place. Yeah, he's had a points finish for all 3 rounds of the championship so far. Only 10th place, though, in Saudi Arabia, which gave him 1 solitary point. He claimed he didn't know how many points he get for that position. Not totally convinced about that, Lewis Hamilton. If I'm Hamilton bashing, let me just go in with one more here. Maybe not fair play, but Hamilton was complaining to his team today that it was their fault that a safety car came out and that he ended up in the position he did behind his teammate. You know, swings and roundabouts. It worked out very well for him. I think it was at the first round of the season as well, where he managed to come in 3rd place, courtesy of a safety car, helping him out big time. Big time. Sergio Perez, somewhat more consistent than his teammate. No race win, of course. He managed 2nd place today, and an unlucky 4th place, I would say, in the last round of the championship after he had pole position for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But it was a safety car once again that caught him out and resulted in him losing his 1st place, I suppose, after the pit stops. Or it would have been a net 1st place at least. And ending up in 4th, so a little unfortunate for him. Now, Carlos Sainz, here is the man that I want to talk about, Carlos Sainz. So, 2nd place in the first race of the season, of course, at Bahrain, and he had 3rd place then in the race in Saudi Arabia, so finishing just behind, of course, Charles Leclerc in the last round of the championship. Carlos Sainz, at the moment, as things stand, I think he might be the only guy that can challenge Charles Leclerc for this championship. So he's got even machinery. His season, he hasn't had a great start yet in respect to how he's done against his teammate. I mean, he did very well against his teammate last year. I think he just about edged him on points as well. So that was a very good start for him in the Ferrari. So we know he's well capable of doing something. I think he just needs to get his act together and he could find himself in the picture. Of course, not finishing today's race, a bad mistake from him. Not finishing today's race definitely won't help that. George Russell then is in 2nd, so it's consistency here for George Russell. So 4th, 5th and 3rd in the first 3 races of the season. Puts him in 2nd place on 37 points, but as we said, that is a grand total of 34 points behind the race or the championship leader, Charles Leclerc, who kind of looks unstoppable right now. 1st place, 2nd place, 1st place. And you can see he scored 26 points in the first race, 26 points in the 3rd race. So he had fastest lap in both of those races as well. And actually 19 points for 2nd place. That's not a usual score for 2nd place. So he had fastest lap in Saudi Arabia as well. So fastest lap in all 3 races of the season so far. Really consistent, good going for Charles Leclerc. He was a whisker away from winning in Saudi Arabia as well. Great battle that he had with Max Verstappen. So, you know, things are looking very, very good for him as it stands at the moment. And he's been mightily impressive. He's taken every chance that he's been given, really. And you really can't blame him for just missing out in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So that's what the driver standings looks like. Let's come back here and have a look at the constructors standings. Once again, a little bit of one-way traffic, I suspect. Down at the very bottom, we have now Aston Martin. 0 points. 0 points for Aston Martin. Williams 9th, AlphaTauri 8th. Haas in 7th, Alfa Romeo 6th, Alpine 5th, McLaren in 4th. We have Red Bull in 3rd, Mercedes 2nd, Ferrari in 1st. And if we go for a little bit more of a... let me get this here. Driver reprimands, very interesting. So teams... looking at the team championship now, this is the nice view that we want. Yeah, as I said, Aston Martin 0 points. A horrific start to the season, and it's very, very difficult to feel sorry for them, especially when Lance Stroll has been such an idiot on track, and combined with the fact that we have Lawrence Stroll really, bringing out the hairdryer with the team. It sounds like it creates a very, very bad team environment. So I'm hoping for the team's sake, for the staff's sake, that they can turn this around, and of course for Sebastian Vettel. But not looking good for Aston Martin so far. Then in 9th we have Williams with the one solitary point that Alex Albon scored today. We spoke about that. Very impressive from Alex Albon. In 8th we have AlphaTauri, who've consistently been scoring points through the first 3 races. We have Haas then in 7th. Of course, this weekend in Australia was disappointing for them. Nowhere near the points really this weekend. Looked much better in the race than they did in practice and in qualifying, but unfortunately 0 additional points today. But they do have 12 points, courtesy of Kevin Magnussen. Of course, Mick Schumacher did not take part in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix following a very heavy crash in qualifying. Alfa Romeo then in 6th place. They didn't score any points in Saudi Arabia, but 9 and 4 over the first and third race of the season. Alpine then, this is the consistent points. Unfortunately, Fernando Alonso only scoring points in 1 race, but Esteban Ocon has been very consistent, and he's been scoring the points for Alpine there to put them in 5th. McLaren then, a bit of a rescue operation happening here, so they're up into 4th again. Grand total of 18 points today, so consistent finish between Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. I was ever so slightly disappointed to see that Ricciardo couldn't get past Norris in his home Grand Prix, but Lando Norris looked ever so slightly better this weekend, and I think he deserved it in total. Red Bull only in 3rd place in the Constructors standings, and 0 points in the first race of the season, which was the Bahrain Grand Prix. So that was a bit of a shocker for them. And then we had a good return then in the second race of the season in Saudi Arabia. Of course, Max Verstappen won and Sergio Perez came in 4th, if I remember correctly. And of course, today then, 18 points, that was all Sergio Perez. He came 2nd in the race. So they're really struggling right now, courtesy of these mechanical failures that they've been having as well. 2 mechanical failures in the Bahrain Grand Prix, and then 1 today for Max Verstappen. Mercedes then, by virtue of consistency, are in 2nd place, but a long way off the lead of the Constructors' Championship. They're, well, if you look at this, they are almost 40 points, so it's 39 points now behind Ferrari in 1st place. And then Ferrari, yeah, it's a little bit too easy for Ferrari right now. And if Carlos Sainz could have managed to get in the points today, it would have been even better. But he had that unfortunate off, a bit of a mistake by him. But still looking very, very good for Ferrari. Early on in the season yet, as you can see, we have plenty more races to go. So, I think that's everything then. I'll leave it there for now. Thanks for joining us as ever. Don't forget to hit the thumbs button to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well to be notified of future videos. As I said, I'm hoping to do a race watch along for the next race. And I was going to say it's a very exciting championship that we've had so far this season. I think today is the first glimpse we've got that it might not be so exciting if the guy down here in the corner, Charles Leclerc, manages to extend his lead even more in the next few races. So it could be a very one-sided championship. I'm hoping that Carlos Sainz gets into the mix, and of course that we see Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, all of those guys get into the mix as well. I think Sainz versus Leclerc for the championship would be an awesome battle. I'd love to see how that plays out. More to come, plenty more races to go. So I'll say it again, thank you very much for joining us, and I will speak to you soon.